Hey all, it's Laurence from Laurence Creates, and welcome back to episode 4 of our Making a Game Engine with Google Skia. Now, in this video, like I mentioned in the previous episode, we will be adding our physicalized rotation. So basically right now, when we draw a image and calculate physics for that, even though we are moving that particular sprite, um, we don't actually take into account any sort of rotation. So on the back end of our physics engine, it is actually calculating rotation, but visually, we still can't see that. So we are going to implement that today. So the first thing we want to do is we're actually going to shorten our calls to our canvas. So before we do that, do the physics for the rotation, we're just going to do this. So we want to create a new local variable, call it canvas, and that's going to be equal to e.surface canvas, and this is just going to replace basically everything, just so that we can save ourselves a little bit of time by not needing to type as much here. All right, so the next thing we want to do is, just before drawing our bitmap here, we want to say canvas.save. This is basically going to save the current state of the canvas before we make any changes to it. And you'll see why that's important later. The next thing we want to do is find the center of our sprite. So the way we do that is we say float sprite center x is equal to sprite dot sprite body dot position dot x, and we want to add onto that the width of the sprite. And lastly, we divide it by 2. Now, for our y, we do the exact same thing. However, instead of it being position.y, .x, it's .y, and position.width, it's sprite.width, it's sprite.height. Okay, so now we want to translate our canvas. So we say canvas.translate, and that's sprite x and sprite y, or sprite center x, sprite center y. What this basically does is moves our canvas basically at the center point of our image to do this rotation. And the next thing we want to do is say canvas dot rotate degrees, and we're gonna say sprite dot sprite body dot rotation. Now, I believe we want to times the rotation by 180 degrees. And lastly, we are going to divide it by math.pi. Okay, so after that, we are, let me try and remember here. It's canvas.translate. Yes, okay, it's auto-filled it for me. Basically, going to now translate the canvas to basically the opposite of what we did up here. So we're going to do negative on the x and negative on the y. And then lastly, we want to draw our bitmap. But we're going to change a few things. We want, let me just see, do we want to change anything here? I don't think we need to change anything to our bitmap, actually, because we're rotating the canvas. Okay, that's good. Okay, so lastly is we're gonna say canvas.restore. Now I'll show you why we need that. So basically what this is doing is it's translating the canvas where the image position is. We're rotating it, and then we're sort of changing the canvas back to where its original position would be. So let's play that, and we should have some rotation now. Oh, there you go. So it hit the edge of the circle. We could, let's change this just for testing. Actually, we are going to change this up. We're going to, what do we want? Uh, bu- 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 bu. Let's actually get our, what do we call it up here? Sprite type. So we're going to want a sprite type. We're just going to say type. And let's go and say switch type. And then we'll say case sprite type dot circle. So we're only really going to be wanting to add stuff into this that is basically related to shapes. So we're gonna ignore things like the image. So let's go ahead and do this as well. Rectangle. Okay. So we're gonna say case sprite type dot rectangle and break. So our current sprite body is going to be applied to our rectangle. However, we're going to make a new one, and that is going to be called dot create circle. Now to see, we want the radius, the density, which is, we're just going to make this one. The position, which should just be able to do that, and I think that's all good now. I think we just need to remove that there and leave body type.kinematic. Okay. So now in our demo game here, instead of enable physics, we're going to say dot enable. No, actually, yeah, that's the same thing. But we want sprite type and circle. So now we are also going to just slow down the force that we're applying. And this should now be a circular collision. It's actually just really large, I think. We'll make it 1.1f and see how that goes. There you go. So now we have our collision and rotation working with our physics objects. So everything is kind of shaping up. So I think the last thing I kind of want to do for the engine here is add some sort of scene ID to our sprites, which will allow us the option to sort of create different scenes. And it's something super easy to implement. So all we're going to do in the Create 2D engine is I think really all we need to do is just say public int scene ID. We'll make that equal to 0. And then in our sprite, sorry, excuse me, we're going to say public int scene ID, and we'll make that equal to 0 as well. So what we can do now is say if our sprite dot scene ID is equal to scene ID, then we basically want to draw everything like so. So as of right now, if we play this, everything should be normal. And you should see we get some collisions. Is great. Now this is going to affect our visuals, not so much our physics. So let's just test that out, shall we? And let's just go ahead and say our circle.scene ID is going to equal to 1. And if we play that, our image is still going to collide because, well, our physics is still there. We create that in the engine, but the actual visual is going to be gone. And then if we want to now view the circle, we should be able to just type scene ID is equal to the 1. And so now we won't be able to see the image, but we'll be able to see the circle. Yeah. So it's a very basic system for switching out our scenes. The only thing we need to do is kind of disable our physics. So let me just have a quick brainstorm on how we can do that exactly. I think the simplest way is going to be something else. Sprite body dot let me see, is there anything that'll allow us to disable the collision? Wait, I saw a body ID. What does that do? Alright, that's not what we want. Oh, enabled. Okay, this might actually be what we want. So, we want it to be false, and then oh no, what's happening here? Yeah, that's fine. We want it to be false. We also want to just say if sprite.spritebody is not equal to null. We're just gonna return. Over here, we want it to be false, and then for anything else up here, we want it to be true. Over this one, we don't actually want to opt out of the entire draw call. We just want to do this. So, all right. So now we should have our physics get disabled. So interesting. Okay. So we have here, if the sprite body is not equal null, then we're going to set that to true. Right. Down here, let's just do it like this, maybe. I don't think that'll affect anything though. Let's just double check here. Oh, okay, that was the issue. Yeah, there we go. So now we don't have collision. So if we play that again, you'll see that the image just falls straight through the circle. And now if we go back to our demo game and make the circle the same scene, I mean, it's defaulted to 0, so we could just comment that out. And everything's together, we should have all our physics interact. And we do. That is fantastic. So now we have our rotations set up. We have a basic scene system where you can sort of turn off objects and turn them on based on the scene that they are in. So in the next video, I think what we're going to be focusing on is drawing the rest of our potential basic shapes. So in Canvas, we can draw an arc. We can, I think there's a rectangle somewhere. We can draw lines, ovals. So there is quite a bit of stuff that we can implement. We can also do text. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. We're going to focus on sort of finishing off our drawing functionality and giving us the ability to draw a lot more than just a circle and images. And then once we do that, I'm not sure if we'll sorry, excuse me. I'm not sure if we will be able to fit it in the same video, but we are then going to add our rotation to basically all of our basic shapes. And that is literally, I mean, you could probably just copy and paste this code if you guys wanted to try and attempt it on your own. But yeah, next video, that's what we're going to be doing, adding the rest of our potential drawables. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like the video. And if you want to see more and stay tuned with the series, please subscribe. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, just comment down below if you want to see anything, if you have any ideas, if you need any help. I also have a Discord server if you want to join that, and if you need help, I'm always happy to try and help you on our Discord server. And lastly, don't forget that I do currently have a Patreon, which will be linked in the description. So if you want to get access to this GitHub repository, go ahead and, you know, help me out if you want. And when you become a patron, you get access to this GitHub repository. Okay, guys. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.